Hello, welcome back to Lenya Styles, where we're going to discuss all things for women, fun, fashion, and fitness. Today we're going to discuss my 5 pillars of health. And I know that these are very individualized, and the pillars of health are different for every single person, but I'm just going to talk to you about my 5 pillars, and hopefully I inspire you. So my 5 pillars start with, obviously, diet and nutrition. Diet and nutrition is a very personal journey that depends on your age, your weight, your gender identity, how much activity you do in a day, and it is something that you should discuss with your medical care provider. But for me, I have a nutritionist, and I talk to my doctor often about my health and fitness, and we work together to prioritize this so that I can live my best life. Because for me, and I think really for everyone, nutrition is the foundation for your life. My 5 pillars of health sort of came into play. It's not something that I focused on a lot as a woman prior to this. I mean, like I always, since I've become an athlete, or since I started to see myself as an athlete, which is something that is a very interesting journey, because I used to work out and do CrossFit, and I used to think of myself as a person who worked out, and it was a real mindset shift to think of myself as an athlete. And that initial shift of thinking of myself as an athlete, I still didn't understand how I needed to look at all the things about my life holistically to help shape and define how I would perform as an athlete and as a person. So during the pandemic, I sort of built this foundation of my 5 pillars of health. And I think the lockdown really gave me the time to think about my health in this holistic way, because not only was I obviously being affected by having to stay home and worry about getting the virus, but I also had to think about the shifts of, I wasn't going to the gym anymore, I was working out at home, I didn't have a team of people to help motivate me. I had to start thinking outside of myself as far as what I needed for my spiritual and personal growth, because working out no longer provided me with that. And it wasn't a bad thing, and I'm not complaining. My working out was like that job that I really love, that career that I really love. So working out still was fun, working out is still awesome, but I needed something to help me with my spiritual and personal growth. So once I started developing these 5 pillars of health, and I put in my spiritual journey, my physical journey, my personal growth and development, my diet and nutrition, and my activity, you'd then get these 5 pillars. And when I worked on them all together, I kind of unlocked a lot of the things that were holding me back. I have a couple of tips on diet and nutrition that I would love to impart on all of you, so that you can, so that I can help you on this journey. The first thing I want to tell you is to consume a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables. You should also pay very close attention to your portion size. Americans eat a lot. They don't, they fill their plate, and that is overeating. So if you pay attention to your portion size, maybe get smaller dinner plates, you will find that here it's going to be easier for you to get your diet under control. And when I say diet, I'm not talking about diet culture, I'm just talking about the food that you eat. And eating healthy is not something that has to be expensive. You do not have to buy organic. You do not have to, actually, you don't even have to buy fresh vegetables. You can buy frozen vegetables. If that's the only way that you're gonna be able to get your vegetables, then by all means do that. It's important that you eat the vegetables. So whatever way you can get it that will make it healthy for you, that is what I'm here for. So if you can only do it in frozen form, girl, do it. So the next topic I want to talk to you about is exercise and activity. Now, daily physical activity is the key to health. along with nutrition. And everything I'm going to talk about is the key. But this is one of the main keys, is moving your body every day. And you don't have to have a gym membership. You can just get out and walk in nature. Like today for my cardio, I went for a walk. A long walk. I just turned on my fitness tracker to see what the intensity was. Apparently I walk really intensely, and I had a good walk. But that is physical activity. Sometimes cleaning your house is physical activity. A good vacuuming session can really do a lot for your waistline. Just move your body every day. That's all I ask. 1 hour every day, and it's not a lot. And you can find that hour if you prioritize that. For lots of people, exercising on a daily basis, even for just 1 hour, gives you also that spiritual growth that you need. It's that time for your self-reflection and self-care, and it's that time for you. That is, and that is a wonderful, important thing that a lot of people neglect, especially women. So I am out here talking directly to you. It is so important for you to put yourself first, because if you cannot show up for yourself, you cannot show up for anyone else. My next actual tip is about self-care and sleep. A lot of people don't really think of sleep as being important. I mean, I hear all the time, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And the thing is, without sleep, you can die. Sleep is a really important part of your life. It's an important part of how you get about your day. If you don't get enough sleep, you're irritable. You can put on weight because it doesn't. I don't know the whole physiological reasons why lack of sleep actually causes weight gain, but you can Google it. It does. So getting proper sleep is so important, and managing your self-care. Sleep is part of your self-care, along with exercise, along with whatever it is that you need. It can be anything. It can be anything from taking 20 minutes to reading a book, your favorite book, to buying your favorite vibrator and going in that room and taking care of yourself. That is self-care. Whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, that is what you need to do. And I am a big proponent of whatever it is a woman needs to do to manage her life, to make her feel better about herself. That's what I'm here for. So please don't neglect self-care and sleep and rest as a pillar of health. I've got some tips about self-care. I think that we should avoid screen time for 30 minutes prior to going to sleep. I know this is it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. A lot of people use the TV as a way of going to sleep, but those blue rays coming from the television don't help with your sleep cycles. And again, Google it. The Sleep Doctor is my friend and can be yours. He has an amazing Instagram account. I will link it here. So it's important that you prioritize the things that will help you get better sleep, not just sleeping for as long as possible, because you can sleep 8 hours and have shitty sleep. You have to get good sleep. You need to incorporate a relaxing wind down every night to get you into your sleep phase. So for like me, I like washing dishes in front of my window, because I have this beautiful window with this beautiful kangaroo paw that grows, and I wash the dishes of the day. That's like part of my wind down routine. I have a cup of tea, I then brush my teeth, then I go and I lay down in my bed and I meditate for 10 minutes. And that is my wind down routine. And since I started that at the beginning of the pandemic, my sleep quality has increased. The next sort of thing I want to talk about is personal growth and development, which is very different from person to person. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, during the pandemic, when we started the lockdown, I kind of had to shift a little bit of my mindset, because I still sort of wasn't seeing myself as an athlete. And I have to say, at that point in time, had already competed in 2 powerlifting competitions and years of CrossFit competitions. So you would think that I would have seen myself as an athlete, but I didn't. And it was a complete shift in the way I saw myself and the way I see my personal development and my growth. So once I started thinking of myself as an athlete and using exercise and physical activity more as that job that I really, really love, and less for personal growth and spiritual growth, I had to find a way to grow myself in those areas that are different. So during the pandemic, I started relearning French, which is like, everybody was taking languages. Duolingo was like going crazy. I started coloring, of all things, because it was so relaxing. I started reading a lot about sleep and about dementia, because my mom has early onset dementia and I have the gene, and so I wanted to find out whether I could beat this on my own. And so I started doing a lot of research, and I just started having a lot of personal growth around around my brain, and making my brain more active so that I could push away dementia for as long as possible. And it has done wonders for me. Duolingo is so much fun. I have it on my phone, I have it on my computer. And I just love like the whole idea. And I thought, you know what, why not go back and relearn Spanish too while we're at it? And so, I'm doing all these different things as part of my personal journey. And it is something, again, like I said, that's very individual, but you need to find your passion. Find something that you love to do. I have some tips as well for personal growth. One of the things that I sort of really loved about during the pandemic was you had the time. You really had the time to focus on yourself and to prioritize things that were important for you. And I noticed it's really been interesting as we all come out of this pandemic, how a lot of people have decided that, you know what, yes, I want to go back to work, but I want to go back to work on terms that allow me to continue to have the time for me. So it's been an interesting, political commentary on TV and everywhere about the return to work and how some people don't want to go back, and how they're blaming unemployment, they're blaming low minimum wage. How about we blame Americans' low quality of life, and how the pandemic actually put into focus that we don't spend enough time working on ourselves and developing ourselves as people. And it is why when the pandemic hit, so many people were blindsided by the fact that they had to stay home and figure out what to do with their lives, or what was even important in their lives. One of my tips is look for continuing education classes in your area, community classes on things that you're interested in. If you like bird watching, find a group of people, like-minded people that you can talk to about those things. Build community. Join a community, because that will help your personal growth as much as your personal development as well. Just find your community. Join a book club. Visit your local library, get a library card. Libraries are just open again. Yay! And we have some great ones here in California. Take up journaling. I'm terrible at this. I actually took up the tarot before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, I started journaling about my tarot readings every day. And wow, when I read back about some of these crazy things that were going through my brain at the beginning of the pandemic, but it was a time of self-discovery.
What about your crystals?
These are all things.
What about your crystals?
Oh yes. The other secret thing that I started doing during the beginning of the pandemic is I started collecting crystals in a very obsessive, compulsive way that I'm embarrassed but excited about. And the last thing I want to talk to you guys about today is spiritual growth. Now, spirituality means so many different things to so many different people. It can mean religion, it can mean meditation. It is important to find what spirituality means to you. And I'm not telling you that you need to go to church, and I'm not telling you that you need to take up meditation, because you can have spirituality without those things. You can just take a walk amongst nature and feel very at one with the earth, and that is a spiritual place to be. Find that Zen for you. That is an important part of your growth, and that is something that you will carry for the rest of your life. It is something that will ground you and center you when the things are bad. So having that spiritual place was so important at the beginning of this pandemic, because it was allowed me to feel okay when everything was not okay. Also know I have some tips for you on spirituality, because I've got tips on everything. Dedicate a small chunk of your time each day for yourself. It can be part of your self-care, because spirituality is part of self-care. Dedicate at least 5 minutes, make it a priority. I think it should be more like an hour. Like I was telling you, with your exercise, with your buying your fancy vibrator and going and taking care of yourself. It should be a time for yourself, and spirituality can be like that. I mean, you know, some people have an orgasm and see God. Who knows? Maybe that's for you too. Keep a journal, write about the things that you're experiencing in life. If you are one of those people who can find spirituality in walking amongst nature, it is a nice way to just kind of write a little bit about it every day. Because when you read back on those things, you can get that feeling again, your sense of purpose, that sense of awareness, that sense of being one with the earth and with everyone. I think that's just so important and part of your life. So those are my 5 pillars of health. These are the things that have helped me during the pandemic. These are things that have helped me in life. These are the things that I'm going to try to move forward as I try to grow as a person. And I foresee that I will grow as a person till the day I die, because this journey is never ending. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Really appreciate everything. Again, I would love to chat with everyone about this. If you have any comments about what I discussed today, please, write them in the comment section. I'd love to hear about what your pillars of health are. I'd love to have a discussion about it. So please make sure that you like, comment and subscribe, share with your friends. Let's talk. Let's begin this conversation about women and health and prioritizing what's right for us. Next week, we're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to me. We're going to pivot away from health and go to fashion, girls. We're going to talk about the 12-piece capsule wardrobe. Tune in next week. It's going to be so much fun.